Shof'tim, chapter 6. But the people of Israel did what was evil from Jehovah's perspective. So Jehovah handed them over to Midian for 7 years. Midian exercised its power harshly against Israel, and because of Midian, the people of Israel hid themselves in mountains, in caves, and in other safe places. One time, after Israel's sowing season, Midian, with Amalek and others from the east, attacked them. They set up camp by them and destroyed the produce of the country all the way to Azah. They left nothing for people to live on, no sheep, no oxen, no donkeys. For they came up with their cattle and tents, and they came in as thick as locusts. Both they and their camels were beyond numbering, and they came into the land to destroy it. Israel became very discouraged because of Midian, and the people of Israel cried out to Jehovah. When the people of Israel cried out to Jehovah because of Midian, Jehovah sent a prophet to the people of Israel who said to them, Jehovah, the God of Israel, says, I brought you up from Egypt out of a life of slavery. I delivered you from the power of the Egyptians and from the power of all your oppressors. I drove them out ahead of you and gave you their land. And I said to you, I am Jehovah your God. You are not to be afraid of the gods of the Amorri in whose land you are living, but you paid no attention to what I said. Then the angel of Jehovah came and sat under the pistachio tree in Ophrah that belonged to Joash the Abiezri. His son Gideon was threshing wheat in the winepress in order to hide it from Midian. The angel of Jehovah appeared to him and said to him, You valiant hero, Jehovah is with you. Excuse me, sir, answered Gideon, but if Jehovah is with us, then why is all this happening to us? And where are all his miracles our ancestors told us about when they said, Didn't Jehovah bring us up from Egypt? For now Jehovah has abandoned us and handed us over to Midian. Jehovah turned to him and said, Go in this strength of yours and save Israel from the hands of Midian. Haven't I sent you? But Gideon answered him, Forgive me, my Lord, but with what am I to save Israel? Why, my family is the poorest in Manasseh, and I'm the youngest person in my father's house. Jehovah said to him, Because I will be with you, you will strike down Midian as easily as if they were just one man. Gideon replied, If indeed you favor me, would you mind giving me a sign that it is really you talking with me? Please don't leave until I go and return with the gift and a present and present it to you. He replied, I'll wait till you come back. Gideon went in, cooked a young goat, and made matzah from a bushel of flour. He put the meat in a basket and the broth in a pot, brought them out to him under the pistachio tree, and presented them. The angel of God said to him, Take the meat and matzah, lay them on this rock, and pour out the broth. Gideon did so. Then the angel of Jehovah reached out with the stick he was holding, touched the meat and matzah, and fire shot up out of the rock and burned up the meat and matzah. Then the angel of Jehovah disappeared before his eyes. Gideon realized that he was the angel of Jehovah and said, Oh no, my Lord, Jehovah, because I've seen the angel of Jehovah face to face. But Jehovah reassured him, Shalom to you. Don't be afraid. You won't die. Then Gideon built an altar there to Jehovah and called it Jehovah Shalom. To this day it remains in Ophrah of the Abiezri. That very night Jehovah said to him, Take your father's bull and the other bull, the 7-year-old. Destroy the altar to Baal that belongs to your father. Cut down the sacred pole next to it, and build a proper altar to Jehovah your God on top of this strong point. Then take the second bull and offer it as a burnt offering, using the wood of the sacred pole you cut down. Gideon took 10 of his servants and did what Jehovah had told him to do. He didn't do it by day because he was afraid of the men in his father's household and those from the city, so he did it at night. When the men of the city got up the next morning, there was the altar of Baal destroyed, the sacred pole cut down, and the second bull, a burnt offering, on the newly built altar. They asked each other, who could have done this? But after investigating, they concluded that Gideon, the son of Joash, had done it. Bring out your son, the men of the city demanded of Joash, so that he may die, because he destroyed the altar of Baal and cut down the sacred pole next to it. But Joash said to all those crowding around him, You're defending Baal, are you? It's your job to save him? Anyone who defends Baal will be put to death before morning. If he's a god, let him defend himself. After all, somebody destroyed his altar. Therefore, on that day Gideon was given the name Yerubbaal, let Baal defend, because they said, let Baal defend himself against him, since he destroyed his altar. Now all Midian, Amalek, and the others from the east joined forces, crossed the Jordan, and set up camp in the Yisrael valley. But the spirit of Yehovah covered Gideon. He sounded the call in the shofar, and Abiezar rallied behind him. He sent messengers throughout all Manasseh, and they too rallied behind him. He also sent messengers to Asher, Zebulun, and Naphtali, and they came up to join them. Gideon said to God, If you are going to save Israel through me, as you said you would, then here, I will lay a wool fleece on the threshing floor. If there is dew on the fleece only, while all the ground stays dry, I will be convinced that you will save Israel through me, as you said you would. And it happened. He got up early in the morning, pressed the fleece together, and wrung dew out of it, a bowl full of water. But Gideon said to God, Don't be angry with me because I am asking one more thing. Let me make one more test, please. This time let it be dry only on the fleece, with dew all over the ground. And that is what God did that night. It was dry only on the fleece, even though there was dew all over the ground.